Bonjour, everybody. And by everybody, I mean 0 people who are currently on. Let me send out the link to let everyone know I'm live. Just a moment. All right, let me fix the. No, that's the right internet. Okay. Is it working? Oh, someone's watching. Hello. All right. I don't know who is watching, but hello to you. It's me, the biatch. You are not a biatch. You are a delightful person, and I love you very much. You are fuzzy tonight. I don't know what that's about. Why do you keep saying connection is unstable? Hang on. if I can actually get it to work this time. Yeah, so I need to fix Wi-Fi. Like, it looks like it's actually working. Let me know how it looks. Hello, I'm driving, so don't bother me. Well, now I have to bother you. That's the thing. You brought this on yourself. You were back briefly. Am I not now? It looks fine. Looks fine on my end. I have. Okay, now I'm back. Am I frozen still? Like, let me know because I'm on the real Wi-Fi. Like, I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if I need to reboot it or what. Like, it seems all right. Someone let me know in there. My video's behind my audio. Jesus Christ. Yeah, where's my other one? Where's my good Wi-Fi? I hate Verizon so much. Well, the burp was right on time. Okay. So I guess that's good. Throwing out the... Okay, tell me about that later. Alright, I think it's okay. I don't know if more people are gonna cycle in or if I should just talk about something. I don't know. What's in the news? The world is ending. That's cool. Hang on. Ugh, I'm very full. I've got a stomach full of chicken and mashed potatoes and peas and butter. Definitely a lot of butter. So now I'm sitting here like a fat schlub, staring at a computer. Oh, a lot of money can be made being a fat schlub staring at a computer, so I suppose I shouldn't complain too much. I see that show comments on stage button every night. I'm always tempted to press it, and then I remember what you fucking degens will say in the comments. So I'm afraid to. At least for now, I'm afraid to. Like, all right, I'm not taking the chance on somebody like posting racial slurs or something. I don't know if I get banned for that, but it definitely would not help. I no longer have the weak Wi-Fi signal pop up, so that's good. I think. I hate Verizon so much. We should we should burn their company down, I think. Metaphorically, of course. We do not encourage any sort of violence on this podcast. But I think Verizon needs to suffer. I think they need to learn that they have to actually provide the services they say they're going to provide. I think that'd be good, right? Don't you think that make it us good as a society? I think we need to teach a lesson to companies that like if I just realized my own goddamn monitor was in the shot there. I think companies need to learn that if they're going to behave like assholes, that things aren't going to end well for them. Here. Adjust my frame slightly to show off the Lego Cloud City in the background, Harrison. I know that when you see that, you'll flip your shit, which is fair because it's a great set. I don't really have a good lighting setup in here. I need to get working on that. Right now, I'm using just my monitors to light me, and so I look like a ghost. Like I look even more like a ghost than I normally do. Which, of course, is you know, is a net gain for me, I suppose. What the bloody hell is this? Okay, I'll look at that later. How's everyone doing tonight on this wonderful Tuesday night? You know, I'm missing Alien Earth for you degens. I'm truly suffering for my art. I'll have to watch Alien Earth at 10 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. Which is true suffering if you've seen it, because it's an amazing show, and watching it, not right when it airs is truly painful for me. I see all the comments are from my mom because Harrison's driving and everyone else is still trickling in, I guess. Which, fair enough. I'm still testing the waters on this. We're not like really going yet, which is why I don't have like topics prepared. I kind of just like shooting the shit with chat and everything. I love being able to do that, man. All kinds of crazy little scenes I can make. Yeah. See, I know that logo looks amateurish because it is, but it was also made by a friend of mine, and I find it very charming. It's a nice logo, and I think I'm going to stick with it for a little bit because it shows authenticity. It shows that it wasn't made by a fucking AI. Oh my god, I hate AI. Don't get me going about AI. Like I'll go full Butlerian jihad, which they didn't call it that in the Dune Prophecy series. They called it like the Machine War or whatever. I guess they understand that the average American viewing public member is too fucking stupid to know what jihad means, so they didn't want to bring up any implications. It's I don't know, the woke mob got to Dune. It's Obama's fault somehow. Everything's Obama's fault. I stubbed my toe. Fucking Obama. Obama. What topics do I have in here? I was thinking about something earlier that I was trying to remember just now, like if there was anything good in there. My God, I did not realize how many ideas I wrote down. That's insane. Jesus. You know what? I'm gonna see if I can find something. Hang on. Bear with me, chat. Bear with me while I try to find this thing that I'm looking for. YouTube. Riding the bus with my sister. So I was telling Harrison about this earlier. You ever see the movie Riding the Bus with My Sister? Oh, hang on. I actually have something. If you had to choose just one movie that you had to watch every day for the rest of your life, what are you watching? I mean, I feel like any movie I pick, I'd want to like shoot the TV with a gun after watching it 7 days in a row. But if I had to pick any, I'll leave that up. If I had to pick any, man, I don't know. Star Wars is great, like any of them, but any of the original trilogy. Return of the Jedi is my favorite. Any of the Indiana Jones would be great. Back to the Future, Die Hard, Blade Runner, Shawshank, Green Mile, The Room. Yeah, The Room is a fucking masterpiece. All right, Tommy Wiseau. Tommy Wiseau is an artist. He's a terrible artist. He's a fucking lunatic. He's probably not of this world, but he is an artist. He has a creative vision, and motherfucker, you are going to see it. You're going to be confused by it. It's going to be terrible, but you are going to watch it and you are going to remember the goddamn thing, okay? I don't know why you're knowing. No, you're wrong. You've never watched The Room, clearly. The Room is a work of genius subversive art. It you can't the uninspired mind can't make something as terrible as The Room. The Room only comes from swinging for the fences. Like excuse me. You can't make something as bad as The Room when you don't give a shit. That only comes from being a genuine artist with a genuine artistic vision. It's its own thing. It's like Turkish Star Wars. You guys ever see that? You ever see Turkish Star Wars? Let me see if I can find a clip from Turkish Star Wars. Jesus, Vosh is still fucking on? Hasn't he been on for like 7, 8 hours? Turkish Star Wars. Wow. Okay. It's just like on YouTube now? Cool. Shit yeah, brother. Last time I went looking for it on YouTube, it wasn't there. Is there anything in here that isn't filled to the brim with copyrighted material? Because that's the thing with Turkish Star Wars, is that its mere existence is copyright infringement. Like, here, I'll play the... Nope. I'm muting you because you have Indiana Jones music in you, and that's going to be a problem. How do I share my damn screen? Share screen. Yep. All right, now look, watch this for a minute. You see this? You see how insane and stupid this is? You don't create that by being a hack. You don't make this. And by the way, here, I'll turn the audio on for just a second to give you some context. That's actually not the audio I thought it was going to be. I guess I haven't seen this movie in a little while. Because this this movie uses some music you might recognize. Here we go. Now, if I asked you, what movie do you think uses the Raiders of the Lost Ark theme music the most? You'd probably say Raiders of the Lost Ark, and you would be wrong. Yes, you do. Total hack. No, you're just wrong. Because a hack wouldn't create this. A hack creates like something extremely formulaic, boring, shitty, uninspired. Say what you will about this fucking abortion I have playing on the screen. A human being had ideas when he made this. He had a budget of $2 and a dream, and apparently a trampoline based on. Yep, see, yeah. I paid $20 for this trampoline, and motherfucker, I'm gonna use it. Like you don't create this. I don't know why I'm pointing here. You guys can't see that I'm watching it on my laptop screen. You don't create scenes like this by being uninspired. You create them by having ideas too big for your budget and trying it anyway. And you know what? I respect the fuck out of that. I respect anybody who has an idea, no matter how shitty, and is dedicated to making it happen. Anyway, that was Turkish Star Wars, and Turkish Star Wars is a delight. There. Who in the bloody hell? Okay, I will. I don't know who's texting me, but I'll look later. I keep feeling it vibrate, and I'm like, oh shit, is this an emergency? And then it never is. I don't know why I always think it is. Um. Anyway, to get back to the original question that was asked 6 minutes ago, I don't know. Like, there's so many great movies. Shawshank. I don't know. Green Mile. Fucking The Rocketeer. I love that movie. I can watch The Rocketeer pretty much anytime. Sinners, for a recent example, which I just made my mom watch the other day. Must be a Neil Breen enthusiast. I I've never actually seen a Neil Breen movie. I've seen clips from them, and I want to see them badly, and I can never find them. So, like, I know some of them are probably on YouTube, or I could always go to my perfectly legal websites that I use to watch stuff when I get desperate. And I do respect Neil Breen. He's a fucking lunatic who makes terrible movies. But god damn it, he had an idea and he put it onto celluloid or probably digital given his budget. I respect that. You know what? Like, draw your fucking terrible Bart Simpson hentai, or what? Well, probably don't do hentai Bart Simpson because he's a kid, but like, do your aged up Bart Simpson hentai. Do your like fucking Waluigi Teletubbies crossover fic. Do your, I don't know. Do your well. I was gonna say do your fart fetish comic, but DC actually made one of those recently, which is probably not great. It's respectable because he also made his money as a real estate agent, so he pretty much can do whatever he wants. Yeah, I guess real estate agents make a ton of money in the right time and place. Now, I'm not sure exactly how Neil Breen, such an charismatic weirdo, managed to sell a house to anybody, but he pulled it off, and you know what? Good for him. Actually, I need to show you guys this because I'm mad. I'm mad about this. Uh, Here we go. This right here. Okay. Oh, you can see my cursor. Good. Turkish Star Wars is not one of the worst movies ever made. It is one of the best movies ever made. It is one of the purest or artistic movies ever made. Because this guy was an authentic lunatic, all right? He had an idea and he had no money. And then what little money he did have building the set then got fucked up by a sandstorm or some kind of natural disaster. So he supplemented his movie by stealing clips from other movies, mostly Star Wars. So there's a little bit of Battlestar and other stuff in there too. And back in 1981, stealing shit from other movies was hard work. You had to actually get your hands on a print and like make copies of it. And this guy was living in fucking Turkey, as implied by the title Turkish Star Wars. So I can't imagine that getting an authentic, high quality print of a Star Wars reel was easy. But by God, he fucking did it. And he stole a lot of the footage and he put it in his own movie. Whether it made sense to or not, I respect that. I respect that he was that dedicated to making this bizarre creative vision he had. Did he commit crime to do it? Yes, kind of. But you know what? Crime is good and cool, and you should do it, kids. Yes, you, the child watching, should commit crimes. It's good for you. It's good for society. It's good for your health. Anyway, I love Turkish Star Wars. I own it on Blu-ray. It's an amazing movie. It it is one of those movies that makes you a different person for having seen it. Whether or not that's good for you, well, that's a separate issue here. But I think my life is made better from having seen it. It's it's a really great movie. It's up there with The Room. The New War of the Worlds belongs on that list too. The New War of the Worlds is a different kind of terrible. That's the hack kind. That's the kind where you have no ideas. All you have is money to hire Ice Cube and a desire to put Amazon product placement in your movie. It's an accidental masterpiece. It's a masterpiece of dog shit. As is Madam Web. Madam Web is like I own the Steelbook 4K of Madam Web because it's insane that people signed off on this and then watched the finished product and decided it was worthy of release. Meanwhile, Batgirl gets fucking shelved even though it was finished. Now, was Batgirl gonna suck? Maybe. It was a DC movie from that era, so probably. But that's for me to decide. I want to decide if this movie is a piece of shit. And I want to see Brendan Fraser playing a fucking lunatic pyromaniac with a jetpack or whatever. That sounded fucking cool to me. And instead, we get, Space Jam 2 and like the Minecraft movie. How the fuck did they sign off on the Minecraft movie and then not Batgirl? Because I've seen the Minecraft movie, for better or worse. I've watched the goddamn thing. I watched it stoned off my ass too, and I still had a miserable fucking time. It's so hideous. And I don't just mean visually, though it is hideous visually. I mean that it has nothing to say. It has no ideas. It has no inspiration. It has no real creativity. It is exactly like, I know we throw around AI generated a lot, but it feels like what a computer would write to make a Minecraft movie. It casts popular actors we've seen from things before. Like, oh, here's Jack Black as the main character, which, by the way, I'm so sick of Jack Black's shtick. It breaks my heart to say it because, for a long time, he had a reputation as being like the Hollywood nice guy, but I'm sick of him. I don't like his that thing he does. I'm gonna sing my dialogue. God, it's so old. I meant to ask this on the last stream, but on the subject of movies like Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter, you've previously mentioned a greater responsibility on the studio for screwing things up, but do you think the directors of these projects shoulder any responsibility still, even if they are not top brass in the decision making? It depends. It depends on the movie. It depends on how powerful the director is. Like in the case of Madam Web, that was literally her first theatrical film. All of her other directing work had been on TV. So, and in the case of Madam Web in particular, when you watch it, you can tell that it was directed by the studio executives and that S.J. Clarkson, I think that's her name, had little to no actual creative input. Now, you are right that sometimes the director deserves the shit they get. Like Patty Jenkins deserves all the shit she got for Wonder Woman 1984. Motherload baby, like the stream. I don't know who you are, but you're correct. Please do like the stream. It helps with algorithm, whatever the hell. And the better the algorithm, the more money I make, baby. Woohoo! Which also means the better content you get because, money's a great source of inspiration to me. Oh, it's Z. Hello, Z. I've never seen this username before, but yes, thank you for joining. So Harrison, to answer your question, who was the director of Kraven the Hunter again? I remember who directed Madam Web because I love that movie, but Kraven the Hunter was not bad in ways that are interesting. J.C. Chandor. Oh my god, he did A Most Violent Year? Oh my god, dude, he's like an actual filmmaker, kind of. I mean, he hasn't made that many movies, but The Most Violent Year was pretty good. Any thoughts on J.C. Chandor if he differs from Clarkson? I'm less forgiving of him. He should have known better. I mean, I still doubt he had much creative control over his project, so I can only blame him so much for what happened. But I don't know. At least S.J. Clarkson's movie was terrible in ways that are interesting. Why do you love such bad movies? Is it the absurdity of them? The absurdity is part of it. Sometimes they're bad in ways that are really funny. I mean, like, a lot of people think of Rocky Horror as like a so bad it's good movie. I disagree. But because it has two, but part of it is how big a creative vision does it have? Turkish Star Wars has a creative vision. Madam Web does not. They're two very different kinds of terrible movie. But yes, the absurdity is a big part of it. They're an educational experience because you learn, like, how do I not make this? Like, I had a professor in college who had been trying to petition our college to let him teach a class entirely about bad movies because he was like, you learn really well how to make a movie by watching a terribly made movie. And he was right. Hang on, I had more thoughts and I'm trying to remember. I lost my train of thought. Why do I love such bad movies? I mean, I've said this to you before. Sometimes they're bad on purpose too, like the Velocipaster. Yeah. Though that one, they are the best. It's not so much that it was bad on purpose, it was purposefully emulating other bad movies. Which then gives the question, is it still bad if they are intentionally emulating cheap, shitty movies? I would say no. I would say The Velocipaster is a very good movie because it perfectly captures what terrible movies are like. I mean, so I'll bring this comment up again. So, like, I've said this to you before, Brenda, because you were at one time a restaurant owner, a professional chef. You still cook like if VFS explosion. You're right. You still cook like you're a professional chef. You disagree, but I feel like a professional chef who works in fine dining and eats like the best goddamn food ever made would occasionally benefit from eating like a terrible McDonald's cheeseburger. Not all the time, but like, twice, 2, 3 times a year. Like, I'm going to analyze this. Why does this taste bad? What about the flavor profile makes this not work? What about the quality of the meat makes this not work? You say wrong, but it's not. Like, maybe you don't find something to gain from that, but I feel like many professional chefs who really are into the science and art of cooking or baking or whatever would find something to learn from eating food that isn't very high quality occasionally. I can't stand bad food. I know why it sucks and I don't want to put that in my body. Yeah, to be clear, I don't mean like unpleasant to eat food. I just mean food that isn't very, like McDonald's cheeseburger. There are probably plenty of instances of going into something you might not realize is a bad movie until the end when exploring new content. Oh yeah, I mean, movies aren't a very big time commitment, so personally for me, I'll watch pretty much anything someone tells me to. Like, even if it gets bad reviews, like, oh, worst case scenario, I wasted 2 hours. Let's find out if this thing is actually bad. I don't get why someone would seek out something subpar, especially when they have superior taste and knowledge. Well, because that's part of gaining that superior taste and knowledge. You have to know to watch something shitty in order to understand why something is good sometimes. Like, if all you ever watched was good movies, you don't really appreciate why they're good. If all you ever saw was fucking Spider-Man 2, you don't appreciate Spider-Man 2. You need to watch Spider-Man 2 in comparison to, like, Fantastic Four or Ghost Rider, or fucking Steel or whatever. I'm especially referring to overrated content that ends up being disappointing because everyone raves about it. Yeah, you and I were talking about this earlier. Generally, I find, with movies, that is, generally, that if everyone loves it, there's probably a reason. I challenge you to draw up a graph for movies like the political spectrum. I mean, I could definitely point you to some movies with some implicit conservative messaging, if that's what you mean. Or do you mean like the political compass? Well-made, good movie. Well-made, bad movie. Poorly made, good movie. Poorly made, bad movie. I did that wrong, but you know what the fuck I'm saying. Yeah, that would be interesting to do. In fact, maybe I will do that. Thank you for that challenge. The latter, yes. But yeah, I can also point to some movies that are accidentally conservative or sometimes intentionally conservative. But as for overrated movies, I mean, that's the thing is like, there's plenty that you watch and it's like, yeah, it was pretty good, but not as good as everyone said. But generally, if everyone says, like, oh, this movie's great, and you watch it, like, it's going to at least be good. I mean, that's not always true, but I'm trying to think, like, it's pretty rare that there's a movie that everyone says is a masterpiece, and then I watch it and I'm like, this is dog shit. Uh, I mean, I'd say Amelia Perez, but everyone hated that movie. It just got Oscar nominated because of wokeness or whatever. Or rather, a cynical invocation of wokeness for Hollywood points, which of course didn't work out because everyone watched it and was like, this is fucking awful. Ironically, I watched it on April Fool's Day. Oh, I had a thought about Sinners. All right, what was your thought about Sinners? Because I have many thoughts about Sinners. Crazy Rich Asians was awful for me even when everyone around me loved it. I haven't seen it. Now, you are Asian and I am not, so I'm sure that you might have a different perspective on a movie about Asian culture than I do. Or Asian cultures, I should say, because there's no monoculture on an entire continent. I heard like fairly good stuff. Like if I go and look at it on the Letterboxd bar graph, it's like 4 stars out of 5. Which, by the way, Letterboxd is the closest thing I have to a movie site I trust implicitly because Rotten Tomatoes gets fucking review bombed all the time, and people on IMDb hate movies. Whereas Letterboxd, at least I think, is the most likely to give me something. Actually, Harrison, I did finally think of an example of this comment of yours. You ever see the movie Faces from 1968? Now maybe I'd like it more at the time, like more now, but at the time, partially because I saw it in a film class I hated in college. I thought it was fucking pretentious horseshit. Like it was one of those movies where nothing happens. Maybe I'd like it more, but at the time I was like, fuck this movie, this sucks. So you and I disagreed about whether or not it was the protagonist music that attracted the villains. No spoilers, and I disagreed. Well, see, that's the thing. It's not theory that Sammy's music attracted Remick. It is literally text. Like he says out loud, "Your music is what drew me here." I think it was his singing, and that's why they made a point of showing how incredible his voice was. And if you notice, he never sang in the later scenes. Well, he didn't play guitar either. I mean, does it matter whether it was his singing voice or his skill on guitar? Because either way, they combine into his music. But like, it is literally textual that his music is what attracted Remick because Remick is a music fan. Remick understands the power of music. And if you notice, part of why he wants Sammy so badly is because his music was really good, but it wasn't quite good enough to pierce the veil between reality like Sammy's was. Hang on, I have 2 things to respond to. Yes, he did. Wasn't he playing in the bar at the end? Yeah, but that was it. He was playing and singing in the bar. Or he wasn't. When he was playing electric, he wasn't singing, but presumably he had been earlier in the song, or someone else was. But he was still creating music. I don't think it really matters whether he personally was singing or not. The AAPI. This is back to Crazy Rich Asians. This is the ADD stream, everybody. The AAPI representation was fine. My issue was completely unrelated in that the movie felt like it lacked any sufficient conflict in its setup. It was more style over substance in essence. I have not seen it, so I don't know if you're telling the truth, but I could believe that that's true. I think my mom read the books because they made 3 of the books, but then they never adapted the other 2 into movies, which is weird because the first was so successful. No, he didn't sing. He didn't sing when we saw it, but yeah, presumably he does sing still. Like Harrison, I thought CRA was ridiculously plotless and stupid. Yeah, I think I remember you telling me that about the book. I don't remember if you're talking about the movie. But yeah, like the mythology of Sinners, Jesus, this is the ADD stream. The mythology of Sinners is that it's the music that's so powerful that it pierces the veil. It doesn't specify whether it's the instrumental music or the vocals, but I think it doesn't matter. I think that, like, I think he's a great singer, a great guitarist, and that combined together, they create veil-piercing music. Orange. I don't know what you're referring to. I don't know what Thursdays and with Ches means, but I believe you. And it's not Thursday this time. It was Thursday last time. And I'll be on again on Thursday. I plan on making this a regular bi-weekly thing. ADD, no. Oh, well, yeah, true. Or I guess it's ADHD. Does anyone get diagnosed with plain old ADD anymore? I don't think they do. I think it's all ADHD, because like diagnostic criteria has improved over the years, which thank Christ for that. No. You switched to your other account, bro? It's all ADHD, yeah. So did you change your username or did you literally switch to your other YouTube account? Because this one I recognize. Odd ADHD OCD. You would be shocked how common that combination is. In fact, I feel like most awe comes with the other two, or at least is likely to come with the other two. And I don't know what this emoji is, but thank you for it. You're a good friend. What was I talking about like 20 fucking minutes ago? Sinners? Oh, yeah, I was saying how you'll notice that Remix music is really good, but it never actually pierces the veil the way Sammy's does. That's why he literally says, I want you because you can bring back my people. Like, because Sammy can pierce the veil and he can't. Then there's ARAD. Yeah, that's its own thing. I feel like you always had ADHD, but maybe it's getting worse with age. This is the one I have for streaming, the others for personal shit. Lol. Oh, fair enough. Remick is only good when he's with the other people. I don't know if you mean like the actor isn't a good actor. I hope you don't, because that's not true. Well, yeah, Remick wants community. He wants, like, because his people all got killed off by the fucking British. Goddamn limey cocksuckers. Oh, his music. Well, yeah, we only ever see him sing with music, or with We only ever see him. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. We only ever see him create music with the other people. So, like, I don't know how good a guitarist he is on his own. But like, he says to Sammy at the end that like, you can bring back my people. That's why I want your songs and I want your history and your knowledge and your legacy. I was so disappointed by Sinners. There were many things I liked, but just didn't do it for me overall. Yes, but Z, as we've discussed before, you are a habitual contrarian. And my guess is that 5 years from now, you'll watch it again and think it's the best movie ever, like you did with Watchmen and Scott Pilgrim and fucking, I don't know. There's a million other things. It's number 2, trailing F1 for me. I still have not seen F1. I've been meaning to. I've heard it's pretty good. My dad liked it. It needed some nude scenes with Michael B. Jordan. I mean, fair enough. The man looks good. I'm not afraid of sex the way that everyone else in my age seems to be. I actually like when my movies have random titties popping out for no reason. Has Michael B. Jordan ever gotten naked? I don't think he has. I mean, I'm not an expert on his filmography, but yes, F1 is the one with Brad Pitt. I will watch F1 when it's on streaming, as I do with most movies. In fact, I would have done that with Sinners, but then when it came out for that entire weekend, Twitter talked about nothing but fucking Sinners. And so I was like, all right, fine. I'll go check this movie out on Tuesday when the tickets are only $5. And it turns out that I would have happily paid 10 times that amount because Sinners was one of the best movies of the 21st century. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. It's on that top 10 list. It's so good. It needed more of the racists building tension so certain things at the end felt bigger. It didn't need to feel bigger. Like that's kind of the thing. The racism was pretty mundane for that time and place, and frankly, for that time still, for that place still today. Um, so it doesn't need to feel bigger. Like I'm assuming you're referring to like the end when the Klan shows up. It's like, well, that doesn't need to feel bigger. That scene is there for vibes. It's there so that we can watch Michael B. Jordan turn a bunch of racists into chunky salsa with a fucking Tommy gun. And I don't need a justification to see a bunch of racists get turned into chunky salsa. And less dancing vampires, man, fuck you. I don't care. Well, whatever. Like there was soul to that. They dance to their Irish jig and they do the step dancing thing because they have his hive mind knowledge. Like that works. You know what? Too close. And as for too close to sparkling ones, the problem with Twilight wasn't the sparkling vampires. The problem with Twilight was that it sucks and that nobody who made it had any ideas. Vamps don't have souls? Says fucking who? Souls aren't real. Like, are we talking metaphorically? Like, are we talking literal souls? Because that's like a whole different thing I don't know the mythology on. But if we're talking soul, like the metaphysical concept of having like creativity and like art in your being, like, well, who says fucking vampires can't have that? The concept of music being symbolic to the concept of soul was also very originally executed by Coogler. I agree. I think it was certainly one of the most creative, also one of the most creative uses of vampires in a while. Like, because I've gotten real fucking sick of vampires, like Z is saying in the comments, but like they did something real with them, and they actually used the whole "they can't come in unless invited" thing, which I don't think I've seen a vampire thing do that in quite a while. Excuse me. But yeah, like Twilight sucks because, like, I don't know if you guys know the story. So when Pattinson got the role in Twilight, I was reading this once. So he was like, "Oh shit, I got it, this acting role, sweet," because he wasn't that established an actor in 2007, 8. So he was really excited to get this big role, and he read all 4 of the books as research, like after getting the role. And what he came away with from the books was, oh, this Edward guy is a creepy, pedophilic, stalking motherfucker. And he played the character as such. But that's not how you're supposed to interpret Edward. You're supposed to interpret him as like this cool, mysterious guy with a dark side, but he's got this loving soul underneath. So the reason his performance sucks in those movies is because they're editing around the acting performance he gave. Like he played the character as being like fucking vampiric Jeffrey Epstein. But that doesn't work for your romance drama, so instead they did it they edited around his performance. So that's why it feels all disjointed and disconnected. I mean, I know this from personal experience from editing stuff. You'd be shocked the extent to which performances are made in the editing room. I believe that as Batman was amazing legs. The Batman is one of the best superhero movies ever made. I'd say that also goes on the top 25 or so best movies of the century. I've said before that if the Batman was completely unchanged but didn't come with the baggage of being attached to a comic book IP that's been around for almost 100 years, I think, but was completely unchanged otherwise as a movie, I think it would have gotten multiple Oscar nominations, if not wins. And I think it would have gone down in like, not exactly cult film history. It would have gone down in history alongside other kind of cult classic movies like Donnie Darko or Old Boy, or like I was gonna say Gummo, but Gummo is way too avant-garde for like normal cult classic people. I think it would have, like, I think in 20 years from now everyone would be like, oh dude, like I interpreted the Batman so differently than I did than you did, the way we do with Donnie Darko. I don't think the script was solid enough for an Oscar. I think it was. And maybe it wouldn't have won Best Screenplay, but it certainly would have gotten nominated for Best Actor or nominated for Best Cinematography. I'm not saying it would have won any of these categories. Really? Dark Knight Rises, huh? Dark Knight Rises is the one no one likes. I like it, but not as much as the other two. But yeah, or Batman Begins, I think it's a better Batman movie than either of those. Christopher Nolan is an amazing filmmaker, and his Batman movies were great. But I think, and I hate to use a cliche way to describe it that you've heard on the internet a million fucking times, I think his Dark Knight trilogy are better as movies than they are as Batman movies. When it comes to live action Batman movies, the Robert Pattinson one basically drags its nuts across the face of all the others. Like it's actually ridiculous how good it is. Last time I watched it, it was so good I actually got mad because I'm just watching it thinking, Warner Brothers, you could have made a Batman movie this good this entire time and you actively chose not to. Like, it's not like Matt Reeves is some young, fresh on the scene filmmaker. The dude's like 50 years old. He's been making movies for a while. And when they made the last attempt at Batman with Ben Affleck, he'd already made Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. We already knew he was a great filmmaker. So you guys actively chose to make dog shit when you could have made good? Do you think the Batman makes more sense from a writing standpoint compared to Batman Begins? I need to watch Begins again to directly compare because it has been a few years since I saw it. But I've seen the Batman multiple times, most of which are recent. I really think it's a fucking masterclass movie. Like maybe the script isn't the best thing ever written, but that script buoyed by those visuals, buoyed by that acting performance, buoyed by this, and this. I think that elevates it. While I like the Riddler's idea to flood the city, it didn't really make much sense, and it was elements like that which I felt riddled the movie, no pun intended. See, and by the way, Z said Warner Brothers hates us. That's why she's correct. So the Riddler, I get that like the primary reason he does that is so that we can have a big climactic fight, but that's how movies work. Like the movie would have felt a little lackluster without a big action scene at the end, even though it is mostly a detective movie. The reason Riddler floods the city is, at best, it's poetic but not logical. Well, it's logical to him because he feels, obviously he feels abandoned by the city. That's why he does all the shit he does. That's why he kills all the fucking powerful people. That's why he leaks all their dirt. But he feels abandoned by the city at large. Because yeah, he went through all that suffering, but it wasn't really behind the scenes. It was pretty much right out in the open. Like the way he feels it happened was that like Thomas Wayne was, financing that orphanage. He should have been well aware of the horrible fucking treatment that was happening in there. And you know what? He's kind of right. He should have. I get that he was busy doing his Thomas Wayne shit and he had a family of his own. But it was a bit of not a character flaw on his part, but it was a failure of, I guess, logistics, if nothing else, that he wasn't aware of how terrible the conditions were in the orphanage he was connected to. And Riddler, or maybe I think that was still going on when Thomas Wayne was alive because he was in the photo with Thomas Wayne. But so Riddler feels abandoned by the world, like because the city just turned a blind eye to his suffering. They turned a blind eye to all of the other suffering. He feels that the rot in Gotham City is down in its core, and that killing off the population of the city is what it will take to start fresh. Now that's crazy because he's the bad guy, but because he has to be crazy, he's the bad guy. But within his own internal logic, that makes some degree of sense, at least as much sense as a fucking lunatic bad guy can make. Like you're right, it is more poetic than it is logical, but like when you're talking about a character like the Riddler, a poetic gesture like that is logical. Like it makes sense that because like obviously not the only bomb, but the bomb that Batman, like that leads to the big final confrontation, was in the stadium where Bella Real's electoral victory party was happening. It makes sense that he'd be cynical. It makes sense that he'd look at her and her slogan is real change and be like, well, fuck you, bitch. You're not real change. Eat my shit in air. Like, and so he blows it the fuck up and he floods it. And then, and most importantly of all, it leads to one of the best scenes in any superhero movie ever made, which is that Batman, he fights the bad guys, he saves the day. Well, he thinks he saves the day, but then he realizes that's not enough. He can't just fight the bad guy to save the day. He needs to be a leader. He needs to lead people into the light, and so then we get the fucking masterful visual of him lighting the flare and wading into the water, walking over to the people and leading them to safety and rescuing them and turning them over to the medics. It's a fucking amazing sequence, and it is the core of what Batman is. This movie understands Batman better than any other movie ever made does. That's true. I can see it that way a bit better now. I suppose I wish they executed the flooding sequence with greater intensity, because flooding compared to the microwave emitter feels like a snail. Yeah, which is funny because Nolan's all about like realism in his movies, but his fucking villain plan is way more fantastical. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a little while since I watched Batman Begins. Last time I watched it, I really liked it. I'm sure I still would. I own the Blu-ray. I should watch it again at some point. But I don't like Batman Begins is a 4.5 out of 5 movie for me. The Batman is a 5. Hot take: if movie tie-in video games were still a thing like they were in the 90s and early 2000s, the Batman would have had a better game than the Arkham series. Funny you say that. Batman Begins, the video game in 2005, was kind of like the prototype of what would become the Arkham games. Now, it's obviously a lot more primitive because it's from 2005, like it was made for the PS2 and everything, and it probably didn't have that much time or money put into it. But a lot of the stuff best associated with the Arkham games. Oh, you say it was good? I believe you. I haven't played it, but I know of it. But like, yeah, it kind of invented, Batman gliding like with the cape and Batman using stealth and distractions as weapons. And yeah, for the time, it was very well done. I heard that. One of these days, maybe I'll track it down and play it. Like, there's a used game store near me. If I see it there, maybe I'll check it out. I've never actually played a Batman game from before Arkham, except for the Lego one. So that's the same comment I was just responding to. Yeah, I've heard good things about it. They were supposed to do a Dark Knight video game, and then it got canceled somewhere during development. But we know it existed because there was some interview where Gary Oldman said, like, yeah, I just got done doing voice recording for the Dark Knight video game. Lego Batman 1 is the best. I'm actually replaying 3 right now because I just kind of got in the mood for it after seeing the trailer for the new one. But yeah, I love all the Lego Batmans. I never played the Quantum of Solace game, but I did hear it was surprisingly good. Which is shocking because most tie-in movie video games fucking sucked. And I know that from personal experience because I played quite a few of them. Speaking of, both of you will be into this. The new 007 First Light, you see the trailer for that, see? Or see like the announcement thing for it? Oh yeah, here we go. Have you heard of the James Bond Origin game? Yeah, First Light is what it's called. It looks cool. I mean, I find the Bond franchise a little overrated, but I say that in regards to the movies. In regards to games, that's a whole different thing. Now, the only Bond game I've ever played is GoldenEye Reloaded for the PS3, but that one was pretty fucking solid. It had good shooting mechanics. It actually had Daniel Craig, who was the current Bond at the time. I thought that was really cool. I think it's really cool that the First Light is like an original take on Bond. Like, it's not based on any of the movies. It has its own mythology, its own actor. I think that's really cool. I haven't seen the trailer yet. I'm waiting for the next film. And if Pierce comes back for one more, I could die happy. Why would Pierce come back? Like, is that a rumor that's going on? You follow Bond stuff more closely than I do. I feel like Bond should not do that. I feel like they shouldn't be doing like the nostalgia thing of like, here's the other actor coming back for one final adventure. Like, there's a reason that they didn't have the Bond family butler be played by Sean Connery in Skyfall like they thought about doing. The Bond franchise, for all of its faults, for all the shit I can give it, there's a lot of heavy speculation that he could come back for an old man Bond adventure like Logan. See, as much as I like to shit, Connery has come back twice before. Once, yeah, I know, but that was only like a few years after he'd last done it. And as for Never Say Never Again, I do my best to not acknowledge that movie's existence because it kind of sucks. But the Bond franchise, for all of its faults, has been kind of immune to a lot of the franchise rot that a lot of other ones get, like the cameo slop and the bringing back stuff from the previous movie for nostalgia. Like, for all of its many faults, the Bond franchise trusts you, the viewer, enough to be interested in something more than things I recognize, things I recognize. So I hope they don't do that. Like, Pierce Brosnan was good in that role. His tenure's done. Let's not bring him back. Let's not have James Bond Endgame where the fucking portal opens up and out comes like fucking 200-year-old Timothy Dalton like wheeling himself into the frame with a PPK in his hand, in his shaking fucking hand, and then like Daniel Craig comes out and Pierce Brosnan, and then like a fucking horrific deep fake AI generated nightmare version of Sean Connery comes out and starts talking in an AI generated Scottish accent. I think I'm losing my sex appeal. And it'll sound about as realistic as my thing did just there. I think it depends on the entry. There are plenty of movies that are celebrated for paying tribute. Well, see, that's the thing is they pay tribute, they make little nods, but they don't just bring entire things back. I mean, the Craig movies do to some extent, but the Craig movies are like an ongoing storyline. Yeah, see, GoldenEye, that's the thing. It had some classic formula elements from Goldfinger, but those were very basic elements. It didn't go back to Fort Knox. It didn't bring back Goldfinger. I don't even know if the actor was still alive. Probably not. It didn't like it didn't have it didn't recreate the stunts, it didn't recreate the visuals. Maybe it had like a few references here and there, but GoldenEye felt like an original, mostly, movie. Like it didn't feel. It felt like its primary purpose was a new James Bond adventure, not reference old James Bond adventures. I don't want Bond. It's the same with like Amazon owns it now, and it's like I really hope they don't start doing what I know they're gonna do, which is what every other fucking franchise did, where they have like 50 spin-offs set in the Bond universe. Oh, here's what Moneypenny's up to. It's like I don't really fucking care what Moneypenny's up to. Maybe you can make it interesting, and if you do, I'll fucking eat crow. I mean, Andor. Like when they announced Andor, everyone's response was, "Dear God, they're doing a spy drama about the fucking supporting protagonist of Rogue One." But then Andor was like the best thing Star Wars has made since the original trilogy. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't see why they shouldn't bring back things from old movies. 007 is like the spy equivalent of Doctor Who. It feels par for the course. So it depends what you mean by bring things back. If you mean like tropes or maybe like a gadget here and there, that's one thing. But like I like that each Bond movie is fairly self-contained. I don't think you really need to do like a storyline. Characters you can get away with, like, because they bring Felix Leiter back 50 fucking times and he's a different actor each time. It's just like, I don't need to see Goldfinger or Auric Goldfinger again, which I love that his name is Auric too, by the way. Like, I don't need to see him again. I want to see James Bond go on a new adventure. Well, they don't need to go back to previous adventures, but I think at least in Brosnan's case, picking up on his story now that Craig's Bond is dead would be a nice, refreshing pace to return to. I don't know though. Like, do you need that? The thing about, like you said here, Bond movies being episodic is that each one is self-contained, so any one of them can be a good send-off for a character. And also, realistically, Brosnan's version of Bond in particular should have been forcibly medically retired after the horrific torture he endured for a year in a fucking North Korean POW camp. Like, I fucking hate Die Another Day, and one of the reasons why is the fact that he spends 14 months getting his fucking asshole beaten in a North Korean prison, getting like fucking stung by scorpions and the shit beat out of him, and he's all fucking scraggly and shit. And then he gets out and just like shaves, cuts his hair, and he's back to being Bond. He doesn't have any like horrific PTSD flashbacks about all the horrible shit he went through. But that's why it would be perfect for Brosnan to return, because they give it. But he doesn't need a new adventure. He had the movies, he had the games that he did. Like he's like fucking 70. I don't need to see Bond have to like take fucking Viagra to bang the girl who's too young for him. Like I don't need to see that. I want Bond to be relatively young. No, he doesn't though. That's the thing. He doesn't need like God, Kylo Ren was so fucking right when he said, "Let the past die, kill it if you have to." Like and I say we, like I fucking was part of it. We were so mean to the Last Jedi as a society, and as a result, we're never going to get an original fucking blockbuster ever again. Because Rian Johnson swings in and he has actual ideas. You know, you don't have to like them necessarily, but he had ideas for the fucking franchise. And then like 60% of the fan base went, fuck you, I don't want to think, I want to clap in colors and shapes I recognize. And as a result, that's what we're going to get from every fucking franchise for the rest of time. Even though that movie made like $1 billion fucking dollars and was critically acclaimed, but apparently that's not good enough. Like, you know, Pierce Brosnan was a good Bond. He made at least one good Bond movie. It's been a while since I saw the others. The franchise doesn't need another movie, but I'll watch it anyways and probably be entertained. Brosnan come back and that won't change. I feel like it would change though, because he's like fucking 70. Like Bond is an action. We had, as much as I overall liked it, we had this problem with the newest Indiana Jones where they had to have way more chase scenes than fight scenes because Harrison Ford is like 250 years old. I still think there's an intellectual section of Last Jedi watchers who understand the actual issues with it. Yeah, it's not perfect. No, almost no movie is, but I respect the fuck out of it because it had ideas. It had something to say about Star Wars and about fandom in general. Brosnan may be 70 plus, but there has to be a way they can work around his age, especially if they acknowledge his age. See, that's the thing is like, is he gonna be like the backseat James Bond? Like, is he gonna not be doing as much action shit? Because that doesn't feel like Bond. But then if he does do action shit, the whole time you're worrying he's gonna break a hip. Like, I mean, like I made the joke. Honestly, just give me more Kingsman, the better spy movies. Fucking true. There was supposed to be like a third Eggsy one. I think it's still in development. But fucking Taron Egerton's busy with having like an actual really good film career right now, so I'm not sure we're getting another, but I hope we do. Like I made the joke earlier that like Bond films are not action films, they're spy films. As long as we remember that, they have a lot more options for creativity. But they are fucking action movies. Like, yeah, they're spy movies, and maybe I'm wrong, and you could make a really gripping Bond movie that's all spy intrigue and not action. But Bond movies historically have been, especially some more than, yeah, as you say, depending on the entry, have been really heavy on the action. And it's like I don't want the girl to be flirting with Bond and she goes, "Oh, love me 007." And he goes, "Excuse me a minute, love." And then he pops a fucking blue pill into his mouth. And he's like, "All right, give me 30 minutes to wait for my dick to get hard." Like I don't really I don't want to see Bond get old. Tomorrow Never Dies is action. I argue GoldenEye slowed down enough times to focus. Well, yeah, I mean they all slow down at times, but then like GoldenEye also has that fucking insane tank chase through the streets of Moscow. Like now that Brosnan could still do because that's a chase scene. But it's like we need a Bond who's young enough to do stunts. Like fuck these 30 and 40-year-old Bonds. I want like 24-year-old fresh out of the academy Bond, which I think is what the video game is going to be, and that's part of why I'm intrigued by it. Like I want to see because they tried that with Daniel Craig with Casino Royale. Like, oh, he's the new up and comer. He hasn't proven himself yet, but he was still like 30 something. Like he it worked. It's a good movie, but it's like I want to see like a Bond who's too young to rent a fucking car. I mean, Clear and Present Danger kind of is an action movie. It has more than just the convoy ambush. He was 30 fucking 8 in Casino Royale. Jesus. And yes, he does get his balls whipped, which I believe is actually from the book. And I remember that because I was explaining that to my mom the other day because I sat on a seat that had a hole in the mesh and I was like, oh, I feel like the Bond scene where he gets his nuts whipped. And she's like, what are you talking about? And then I had to remind her of it. That's wild. I'm not sure which part is wild. Oh, that he's 38. Yeah. I mean, he pulled it off. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, especially if you want a Bond actor who can carry the franchise for like 10 plus years, you want to cast someone who's like, 25. Ew. Yeah, whatever. You can deal with it. Casino Royale was really your first Bond, huh? I think my first was Goldfinger. Yeah, I think my first was Goldfinger because I have kind of the same fond memories of Goldfinger. This old hag is out. Got to get grandma to bed. Yeah, I'll stream for another like 30 minutes and then go myself. It depends, Harrison, how much. Because like, I mean, yeah, Clear and Present Danger, for example, is a lot more about spy intrigue than it is action, but it has enough action action scenes to be called an action movie and have that be a defensible claim. EXO to all you beloved bonus kids. EXO to you too, Grand Momo. Grand as in the title, not like grandma. Luckily for you, you're not a grandma. I could have made that happen, but I didn't. And it's not at all because I don't have a girlfriend. It's entirely because of my own choices. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, like Bond is cool. Maybe you could do interesting old man Logan shit with Pierce Brosnan, but just in general, like I don't want to see I don't want to see old actors come back unless it's something really transformative. And yeah, I've talked about this with some of you individually, but never like on stream, obviously. Something I kind of realized over the last few years is that American audiences seem to actively dislike watching their heroes grow old or have to reckon with their legacy. And I don't. The obvious example is Last Jedi. The new Indiana Jones. It's not new anymore. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is another one. But I noticed the reason I thought of it. Any of you ever seen the movie The Last Movie Star? It's from 2017, starring Burt Reynolds. I don't know why I'm waiting a response. It takes a while to show up on here. So The Last Movie Star is it's not an action movie, it's a character drama where Burt Reynolds plays essentially himself. Like he's not literally like there's a thin veneer of fictionality over it, but like Vic Edwards is basically a Burt Reynolds type. Like the same type of career, college football star turned stuntman turned successful actor. And he made it like a year before he died, or a couple of years before he died. It was his last starring role. It wasn't his last role ever, but it's just a movie where he plays basically himself, and it's about him reckoning with his legacy, about like the relationships he let crash and burn in pursuit of his dreams, his relationships with human beings overall. Because, like, yeah, he's had all the success, but he didn't actually like he has this giant house he lives in. He doesn't actually have much money anymore because he fucking spent it all making bad decisions. And he's been married like 5 times, and he lives alone in this giant house. Literally, the opening scene is him finding out he has to put his dog to sleep. I wonder how that would compare to The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I still need to see that, but I've heard that's fairly good. But yeah, so the plot of the movie is that Burt Reynolds gets invited to a film festival in Nashville that's dedicated to him. and like he gets the invite in the mail, and he's like, his friend played by Chevy Chase, who gets like third billing in the movie, even though he's only in like that one scene. So whatever, that's what happens when you're Chevy Chase, I guess. So Chevy Chase talks him into going, and so he goes, and he discovers that it's not like a giant film festival like he was imagining. It's like a little one held in a bar by like some guys. And at first he's like, oh, this is fucking bullshit. But then he winds up spending time with these people, especially Ariel Winter's character, who, by the way, Ariel Winter was like 19 when she made this and keeps up with Burt Reynolds acting performance wise. She's amazing in it. So it's mostly about him hanging out with her and learning about her and kind of like using that to learn about who he is. Like, can I still reinvent myself at this age? Was my legacy worth it? Did I make the right decisions in life? Is it okay that I am like this? So I loved this fucking movie. I thought it was an incredible exploration of Burt Reynolds, both as an actor and as of Vic Edwards, the character. And then, so I love it. I go on Letterboxd, and even on fucking Letterboxd, no one else likes this movie. Everyone else is like, it's all right, it's whatever. And I'm like, you guys are fucking stupid. And then the more I think about it, I'm like, wait, no. People just don't like watching their childhood heroes get old. And I suppose I get that. I mean, I definitely, like, I'll get to this in a second. I don't want to put my thoughts too out of order. But if you're going to bring back an old actor or an old character and do something transformative with it, I'd love to see that. Last Jedi did that with Luke Skywalker. Indiana Jones somewhat did that. Dial of Destiny somewhat did it with Indiana Jones. Not as much. Like, it wasn't as purposeful, but Dial of Destiny had something to say about Indiana Jones. Like, what kind of legacy does a life of adventure leave you with? Like, what are your family relationships going to be like? Is your son going to fucking sign up for Vietnam to piss you off, to be different from you, and then get fucking killed over there? Spoilers for a movie that's been out for 2 years. So, like, it had something to say about the character. It wasn't as good as Last Jedi, but I still liked it. I'm always a sucker for watching neo-Nazis get killed, which you get to see plenty of in that movie. Or regular Nazis in the case of the flashback scene. But see, I like transformative uses of bringing back old actors and old characters. What I don't like is the fan service ones. Like, fucking, I sent it to some of you via screenshots. I had that whole fucking stoner crash out when I was watching Ghostbusters Frozen Empire because, first of all, I don't get why Ghostbusters is a fucking franchise. It was an above average Gen Xer comedy and it should have ended there. And instead we got like 50 cartoons and 7 sequels and a bunch of video games. But if you're going to keep making Ghostbusters movies, make them about original characters. Oh, yes. That was fucking amazing when he realizes he went through the wrong time portal. That was amazing. But so I was watching Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and like, I don't need 500-year-old Bill Murray to get wheeled out of his fucking retirement home and wheeled onto the set to say some lines of dialogue that he's visibly not invested in. Like, it was fine to have that little appearance from him in Afterlife, which I still didn't love that movie, but it was okay. But I don't need to see the Ghostbusters again. I saw them twice. The first one was great. The second was not too bad. And then there was the video game in 2009 that was surprisingly good. That's probably my favorite fucking Ghostbusters thing other than the first movie. I don't need to see them come out of retirement one last time and then do it again in the sequel a couple years later. I don't need to see fucking Gozer say, "Are you a god again?" I saw all that in 1984. If I want to see it again, I'll go fucking rewatch Ghostbusters. I can do it whenever I want. I'm an adult. I don't want nostalgia to be the primary reason you make this movie. If you're going to make a new Ghostbusters movie, that's fine. Do something with it. Do something real. Like how does one become a ghost? There's 4,000 religions on the planet and they all have their own afterlife. Like, Is there an objective afterlife? Do you go to a different one depending on your belief system, like in Marvel, where they have the different afterlives? Um, do you only become a ghost if your spirit is not left at rest? Because fucking Egon turned into a ghost, and he seemed to be fairly at peace, other than the whole getting killed violently thing. So, like, is it the fact that he had to abandon his family that made his ghost not at rest? Like, I'm not even saying you have to explain all the rules of how ghosts work, because part of Ghostbusters' charm is that it's a little bit comedically nonsensical. But tell a fucking story. Tell a story beyond, hey, remember Ghostbusters? Please give us money. Like, I remember when I saw the trailer for Frozen Empire, there's the scene where Finn Wolfhard gets slimed, and I was sitting in the theater, and I actually said out loud to myself, don't say it, 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 don't say it. And remarkably, he did not say he slimed me. And I fucking breathed a bigger sigh of relief than I did when I found out that Obama won 2008. I don't know why that's the example I thought of, but like we've hit the point that when I hear the Ghostbusters theme or see the logo, I'm just like, oh Jesus fucking Christ. I don't need more Ghostbusters. It's fine. You can let the franchise retire or make some more fucking video games and cartoons, like some shit I can ignore if I want to. I don't need more Ghostbusters. I'd like an Indiana Jones cartoon or some games or something, but I don't need more movies. I don't know, man. There's so many franchises. Marvel, I mean, I can bitch about Marvel all fucking day now, but at least at least there's precedent for them going on forever. Jurassic Park, my fucking god, I'm so fucking sick of Jurassic Park. Or Jurassic World is what they're doing now. I don't need another Jurassic World sequel. Like, the first one was tolerable, and then everything since then has sucked balls and asshole. I never even saw the last couple because the fucking Fallen Kingdom was so bad that I just skipped all the others. I heard they weren't that great. I heard the new one was like better, but still not great. I'm so fucking sick of Jurassic Park. I don't need more. It's okay. I have one more thought about the thought of not wanting to see our heroes grow old. Other than Indy, Picard also comes to mind. Do you think the latter has received similar reception? I've not seen Picard yet. I need to catch up on all the Star Trek I've missed. I did, however, hear fairly positive stuff about Picard, at least the first season. I don't know if that stayed true with seasons 2 and 3. But like I'm a big TJ Kirk fan, and he's a massive Star Trek Next Gen guy, and he said that he liked season 1 of Picard a lot, and that he felt it was a nice swan song for the character. I don't know if his thoughts soured as seasons 2 and 3 came out, because he didn't really talk about it. But yeah, it is. I mean, Star Trek is episodic, and it is like a series, so you can get away with that a little more. It was less a film franchise. And do you think there also might be an age range on this, because it seemed like Logan worked, but he was 48, and also in Hologram for the King, which felt like a Tom Hanks celebration, he was 55. So that's part of it, is that both of them were a lot younger and therefore had many years ahead of them. But it also, I mean, Hologram for the King I haven't seen, but I'll believe you when you say it's a Tom Hanks celebration. Logan, well, see, just Logan was so fucking good that it's not even worth comparing it to any of the others. It's not worth bringing up like the other X-Men movies, because it just blows them all out of the fucking water. But yeah, the fact that Hugh Jackman was like fairly young when he did Logan really helped. The fact that it was loosely based on a well-received comic helped. And the thing is, Logan wasn't really so much about Logan reckoning with his legacy. It had some of that. It was more about, he's dying, he's fucked. Here's how he can be a hero one last time. He wasn't really thinking about his legacy. In fact, he didn't even want to fucking be in that situation. It was him getting dragged into one last situation where he's forced to be a hero, and through it, he discovers the fact that really he was a hero deep down, and that he doesn't have to be ashamed of that fact. He doesn't have to be cynical about it. And again, it also, see, all of what I'm saying about franchise movies and reboots and nostalgia and everything comes with a huge asterisk, which is that If it's good, all of that can be forgiven. Like I was thinking about this earlier. Everyone always bitches when a comic book movie changes stuff from the comics. And the Guardians of the Galaxy movies sometimes get shit for that from comic fans because they changed a lot of shit from the comics. And unfortunately, that had the impact of like poisoning every other version of the Guardians of the Galaxy. But they get forgiven for that a lot more than most. Why? Because unlike most movies that make huge changes from the comics, Guardians of the Galaxy is actually good. Whereas fucking Man of Steel is shit. And Fan Four Stick is shit. And I don't know, Secret Invasion, I didn't hate as much as everyone else, but it wasn't very good. And it had that fucking horrific AI opening, which sucks because you have like the hideous AI visuals, and then you also have like the most gorgeous musical score playing over it. So it's like, what the fuck, man? You couldn't have hired talent of the same caliber for both departments. I don't know. Like, I mean, if you can make this is my thesis on film and on art in general. If you can make the project good, then more power to you. But if you don't have a really distinctive, creative, clever way of doing something, and I hate to say stick to the safe stuff, but like if you're gonna fucking shit out a million franchise movies after another, like one after the other, at least make them competent. Say what you will about Marvel, but any individual Marvel movie is like a certain level of baseline competent, as opposed to the old DC universe where everything was fucking terrible, and the few things that weren't then got terrible sequels. And then a lot of them just got lost in the shuffle too. Thank God everything good from that fucking franchise has been retroactively included in the new DC universe. And I know James Gunn is like, well, the Suicide Squad isn't technically canon. It exists in kind of rough memory. Fuck you. You used footage of it in Peacemaker last week. It's canon. Just fucking accept it. Nothing in it contradicts any of the other movies you've made since. The only fucking continuity error you had to clear up was the Justice League cameo at the end of Peacemaker Season 1, and you chose to do it via retcon and reshooting, which is hysterical to me. But you could have also just explained that, oh, Peacemaker was telling the story, so of course he's exaggerating who showed up. Like, you could have done that, and it would have worked just fine. But, you know, that movie's good, that show is good. The new Blue Beetle movie, also surprisingly good. Ain't nobody going to be unhappy about him, including the Suicide Squad. Still my favorite Gunn movie. I'm torn between that and the new Superman, but I love both of them. So that is an absolutely respectable choice. Though you still need to see Guardians 2 and 3, which are also really fucking good. And what other Gunn? I know I've seen Super. I don't know if I've seen anything he directed before Super. I've seen stuff he wrote, because I know he like wrote Scooby-Doo, and he was like a producer on Brightburn and shit. Slither, yeah. James Gunn has directed himself fairly few movies for a guy as famous as he is. He's done a lot of writing and a lot of producing, and now he's the head of DC Films. And you can tell that he was flexing that a couple weeks ago in Peacemaker because they had a literal fucking full frontal nudity bisexual orgy scene. And personally, I love that it shares a continuity with the relatively kid-friendly movie that is Superman. That makes me happy. And no, it's not fucking grooming of children or whatever you dumbass right-wing chuds on Twitter said. No, see, here's the thing. Sometimes it's your responsibility to be a parent and control what your little kids watch. So if your little kids have access to your HBO Max account, put on the parental controls. That way, they can't see the R-rated Peacemaker show. Now, if you neglect to do all that, and your kid sees it, and then comes back and asks, Daddy, what's a poop fetish? That's your own goddamn fault. Sorry. Be a fucking parent. It's not James Gunn's responsibility to keep everything fucking kid-friendly and cohesive. Eat my shit and fuck you. I'm arguing with a guy I saw on Twitter earlier. And I'm arguing like third hand. I'm not actually typing any of it out. Oh my god. Anyway, those of you who haven't seen Peacemaker, please watch it. It's fucking great. It's an awesome show. And I don't just mean because it's like funny and has action and blood and nudity and stupid dick and fart jokes. Like it actually takes a character who could have been one note and explores him in a really fascinating way. Which I did not expect to ever come out of a fucking character like Peacemaker, but that's James Gunn's specialty. Take characters we don't give a fuck about, and then make us give a fuck about them. And now Peacemaker is like an enormous hit, and he's in fucking Fortnite, and he has his own comic book, which I'm actually reading right now, and is surprisingly good. Peacemaker Tries Hard. It's great shit. It's really great shit. Watch it. I don't know. I respect the hell out of James Gunn. He is another one. He can really accurately balance like having artistic ideas and making something that fits into a franchise. I mean, imagine like I think he's the only fucking person in Marvel who got to do an entire trilogy of his own movies and they feel very distinct yet also fit in. Because John Watts got to do 3 Spider-Man movies, but they don't really feel like I mean, they're decent movies, but they don't feel like they're really his. They feel like, yes, perfectly functional Spider-Man movies. Oh, yeah, the same guy did all 3. That's cool. Whereas, like, with Guardians, you can really tell. James Gunn did all 3 of these. And he had real ideas that he explored gradually across all 3. It's great. I respect him for it. He's a great filmmaker. And he gives jobs to all his friends and family, which is nice. And his wife is so fucking hot. She's also like a great actress and a good performer, and like I respect her for reasons other than the fact that she's fucking hot. But she's fucking hot. It'd be lying if I didn't mention that fact. But yes, she's also a great actress and fits really nicely into the universe of these movies. Normally I'd go for a little longer, but I really do want to get high and watch Alien Earth, so I think I'm going to go do that. Does anyone have any other questions? Anything else they want to discuss before I go? I know a few of you are still watching, and I'll leave the stream up so you can watch it afterwards if you feel like it. All right, guys. I promise I'll only do the fuck around streams a few more times before I really piece something together. But hey, even the fuck around streams are fun, right? Is that I knew you were gonna fucking see that, Harrison. I knew you would. Yes, it is. That is the 2003 Cloud City. Something that my local store referred to as the Holy Grail of Star Wars Legos. And I own it. This Boba Fett here. I probably shouldn't show this to the camera, but oh yeah, you did hear while you're driving. I'm sure you know this, Harrison, but not everybody watching probably knows. I could get like $2,500 for this Boba Fett. If it weren't one of my childhood favorite figures, I would have sold it already, but I couldn't bear to part with him. And oh yeah, the Bespin guard. I do have that guy in another set somewhere, but that wasn't one of the sets I left displayed. It was one of the ones I took apart when I moved and I never put back together. But yeah, I do have the Bespin guard. Yeah, he was the only one with printed arms and legs, and for some reason that means a lot to people. Yeah, the 06 Slave 1, I have that somewhere. It's just disassembled in my basement, like in a Ziploc bag. Yeah, I know. Forced Volunteer 1. So yeah, Slave 1 is still canonically the ship's name. They just kind of don't use it on the merch anymore. But like if you go on Wikipedia, it's still called the Slave 1. And I don't super care that they did that, but I do think it's kind of stupid. And I get that like the movies don't include the context of why it's called the Slave 1, so it can come across kind of tone deaf. I know, but whatever, man. I wish the Book of Boba Fett had included that, but instead they just kind of dodged the issue. But I'm still Book of Boba Fett's strongest soldier, and fuck anyone who doesn't like it. Anyway, I kind of have to pee, and I want to go smoke the reefer and watch the Alien Earth, so I'm gonna go do that. Take care, everyone. I will be back same time on Thursday night, 8 p.m. EST. And Thursday is a very special day, so I'm excited to see everybody there. Have a good night, everyone. Have a good night to you too. And I'll leave the stream up if anyone wants to rewatch, catch anything they missed, jerk off to my beautiful face. You can do that. You're allowed to jerk off to me if you'd like. Nighty night. Keep your buttholes tight.